together with David Morgan, Commonwealth Games champion. And David, we're right on time for the first man to lift. We've got a field of 8 lifters here and a spread of just 35 kilos, which might sound a lot, but with these big chaps, that's a pretty tight competition. It includes today the world silver medalist, the European silver medalist of the past 2 seasons, European champion in 2000, and the junior world champion of that year as well. So, Paweł Naideck of Poland getting us underway. Naideck second in Europe both last year and the season before. And in this field, Naideck weighing in at 134.04 kilos, so 268, 270 pounds. But yes, he's not the heaviest in the class. That is Udacion Danielin of Armenia, 163.78 kilos. Now here comes the second of the Poles. This is Gregor Klech, 126.52 kilos, so he's the lighter of the pair.
So, both of the Poles have succeeded with their openers. Still a way to go to match the Czech who lifted earlier in the B group, Sobotka.
So who's here and who's not? Well, the world champion's not here because he's lifting for a country which is not a member of the European Federation. That's Hossein Rezazadeh, who took the world title, if you remember, David, and set a new total world record, snatch world record he already had, but he added the clean and jerk world record as well in Warsaw, 472.5, and he's a very solid champion of the world. It's going to take a good man to knock him off that perch when we see him in Vancouver in the Worlds. But then Davianov, dangerous Damian, you can just see Damian top there, 195 kilos. He was the world silver medalist, and the Bulgarians have been in such good form this week that he's obviously got to have a favourite's chance, I would think. But the man who might give him most trouble is the man who's come back after a 2-year suspension. That's the Armenian Udacion Danielin, who actually placed 3rd in the Olympic Games and was then disqualified after the Sydney Olympics because he's got the same sort of kiloage, 450, that sort of territory as Davianov. So again, it could be, I'm not saying it will be, but it could be a competition where it eventually develops into 2 different fights, one for the silver and gold and the other for the bronze. Kolakotseph of the Ukraine. You're looking at the junior champion of 2000, and even 2 years ago he was snatching 182.5 kilos, so this is not that much further up. But he's done that with consummate ease. Only 22. Has a best of 187.5.
Yes, and that lift, of course, putting him into 2nd place with 185, because, of course, earlier on today there was a lift of 190 kilos, and in the B group. So the bar stays on 185. And this for Alain of Azerbaijan. Weighed in at 115. So pretty light. Well, that was technique. So a wasted attempt. And the bar remains at 185 for the Pole. Naideck. Yeah. Not known for his ability in the snatch, but very, very strong in the clean and jerk phase.
Yeah, Steen Grimseth also back in action here for Norway. Disappointing, David, because I know I talked to him at breakfast and he was hoping for 190, and actually in the B group only actually got 180. Then, having had 2 failures at 185, then had 3 failures at 210 in the clean and jerk and failed to total. So not a good day for the Norwegian. Very disappointed with that. Now here comes Naideck, 30 seconds on the clock and 185 kilos on the bar.
So, a failure, but he has a 3rd attempt, so he can try again. And this, of course, another man who will be just trying to keep as close as he can, knowing that his strength lies in the clean and jerk. So the bar stays at 185, and it's now the turn of the second of the poles.
Yeah, to try and see whether he can do this. The lighter of the 2 men at 126.52 kilos. Of course, this is the super heavyweight class, which means over 231.5 pounds, over 16.5 stone. And Danielin, the heavy man, well, he's around 25 stone.
Nice lift. Perfect technique.
Yeah, he was 3rd in Europe 2 seasons ago, and he achieved 185 kilos then. Also competed in Sydney, but that was in the 105 kilo class, so he's relatively new heavyweights. And again, this brings up the subject, doesn't it, David, of whether there should be a class, you know, for example, 105, then say 120,
or 125, and then unlimited.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I think the only way they would do that is by doing what we've suggested in the women's, and perhaps getting rid of the very, very light class, the 56, and perhaps starting at 62.
I wonder what Mootler would make of getting rid of the 56 and the 62 and making it 60. What would he feel about that, I wonder?
That's probably a perfect class for him, actually. So, no problem with his second attempt.
Early days, and the hall just filled up a little bit for the super heavyweights. It usually does. Inevitably, David, can't be as packed as last night, but I tell you what, the audiences have been excellent all the way through the week. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed this back home, wherever you are. Thanks to everyone for your emails, www.weightlifting.de, as ever, to connect with us. And at the moment, something of a Polish championship going on here. Just looking at the starting weights, David, Chiganev, who was the victim of a knife attack, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. And that's a good lift.
Yes, he'll be pleased with that, because of course it keeps him in touch.
Recovery, but of course his teammate will be looking for 3 out of 3 and has just asked for an extra 2.5 kilos. But Chiganev, Davianov and Danielin, those 3 all posted 195 as their opening weights.
So the bar now on 187.5. And this the third attempt. Already succeeded with 180 and 185. So this for 3 successes. Well, there it is.
That's
very good lifts.
Yeah, very good. So 25-year-old Gregory doing well there. He is short of his all-time best of 190, but you would... So the Ukrainian now, Kolakotseph, of course, the Ukrainians, David, in very good spirits after Razorionov's victory in the men's 105 kilo. That's become something of a pet category for the Ukrainians, isn't it? I mean, you know, Gottfried and Razorionov are previous winners at European and world level.
Yes, that's right. It seems to be a class where they've got some real depth. And I wonder if we'll see both of them at the Olympics, or if one of them will have to stay at home.
Oh, I think if they're both fit and well, I mean, Razorionov is 33, it's his last chance. Kolakotseph, on the other hand, here, just 22 years of age. And he was looking for 190 there, which would have been a new personal best. But as it is, remains on 185.
So Sabatka of Czech from the B group, still holding on to one position in the snatch with 190 that he did earlier today.
Dangerous Damian there.
Yes. Yes, the missing link, as we like to call him.
I call him
but
Sir.
Obviously not to his face.
I would never call him that. Actually, I have to say, he's looking a lot cheerier, a lot more relaxed than when we saw him in Warsaw. Mind you, he was up against Hossein Rezazadeh. And there is, I mean, I suppose, David, you would say here in this particular weight class, arguably more than the others, there's a lot of psyching out. I mean, there's a lot of walking around the room and, you know, just trying to send a little message to one or two of your opponents that probably they shouldn't bother. I'm in good form. Now, Kolakotsev's had to follow himself. He's actually come out quite quickly, a minute in which to try and lift this up. So 190 again for a new PB.
Yes, and this, of course, would give him the lead in 4th position at the moment, so this would take him straight into 1st place.
Much better. Mastered the technique and got the results. We've seen a lot of that throughout the week here. We've seen a lot of lifters overcome problems. And that's very encouraging. Yeah, nice lift. Good drive. Solid stand. Legs steady. Feet in line.
Yes, and showing pretty good improvement.
As I said, David, there is there is maybe going to be 2 separate medal fights going on here. So Alan Nanyev of Azerbaijan. Now here's 3rd attempt. 185 failed the first time, got it the second time. So trying, in a sense, to get himself back on course here with 192.5.
Yes, I think he would have liked to have done 185 and 190 and 192.5, but as it was, he made a technical error with his opener of 185, then succeeded, but has decided to make the 7.5 kilo jump and get himself right back on track.
Yeah, fourth in the recent, or I should say fourth last year in the national championships. Now, can he drive? Yes, he can. And well done to him, and that's another man who's achieved a PB. And what a PB, David, because that's 7.5 kilos up on his previous competition best.
Yes, he really wanted it. You could tell he was hungry. He fought it all the way and got the reward.
And as in the previous category, the 105 kilo category, he's lifted in the Russian championships, and this time I don't know for certain, but he's representing Azerbaijan, and I just wonder whether he was actually born in Russia and has found a place in the Azerbaijani team, probably a little bit more easy to get in there. So now Chiganev, and this is the man, David, who I mentioned earlier. He's 23 years of age, and 2 seasons ago he got attacked. A man attacked him with a knife, and it could have been, to be honest, but thank goodness it wasn't. And
any idea of what's happened to the man who attacked him with the knife?
Absolutely no idea. What I do know is he's been in pretty good form. He's this year in the national championships, he snatched 200.
Oh, he looks good. Looks very good.
And he cleaned
his pleased with that. Look at him. Yeah, he knows he's feeling good.
And he snatched 237.5, David. So, you know, those are good numbers.
Well, I think if you're going to attack that man, I think you'd be better off with a gun from a distance. 140 kilos of solid muscle. Good physique for a super heavyweight.
And the next man to come in will be arguably the favourite, Debian Davianov. ...205 kilos snatched in the beginning of his journey to Werler in Warsaw in the Torvar Hall last November. Put 245 kilos above his head in the clean and jerk. Got 450, but let's put it in context. He was beaten by Hossein Razazadeh of Iran, who totaled 472.5. So he's good, but he's in, you know, Razazadeh's outstanding. One of the, you know, best super heavyweight performances I've seen for a long time in Warsaw.
Yeah, so this man has apparently in training sustained an injury to his hand, but doesn't seem to have had any effect on his opening snatch.
Well, if you just think back to the Bulgarians, you know, they started off with Borevsky in the 69 kilo category, went Markov taking the victory in the 77 kilo category, then 85's Zlatan Vanev successful there, and you know, great run of success, and then 94 kilos Dobrev.
Yep.
So this would be a nap hand of 5 men's championships if Davianov can prevail. But he's got, I suppose you could say, he's got a distinct advantage in as much that he weighed 136.86 kilos compared to Danielin, who looks on paper to be his main rival, who's walking around with 25 stone. Now, Udashin of the Ukraine, the second of the Ukrainians, he weighed in at 140 kilos, and he's the 3rd heaviest man.
What's interesting is we've got four athletes coming in at 195 kilos, so this could be a 4-way battle for the first place. And they're all looking pretty good on these opening weights of 195.
I was very impressed. Really good speed there from Udashin. Well, the next man to come in will be Ashot Danielin. Look at this, really quick, gets under the bar. Nice and athletic, David.
You think we're going to see some 200 kilo snatches here today?
So here he comes.
More than one person.
163.78 kilos, 360 pounds, 25 stones. That'd test your little bathroom scales, wouldn't it?
I think you'd need two. So, off the stage for a while. Let's see how he copes with this.
He won the bronze, but was then disqualified after the Sydney Olympics. But total 457.5 in winning the Europeans in 2000. Well, again, good speed,
very good.
Big man, but he really moved.
So, no one having a problem with 195. So just a quick look at the board there, and you can see that the Russian has opted for a 7.5 kilo jump. The Bulgarian has decided to go up by 5. Ukraine also going up by 5. And I think find that the Armenian will be going to 200 as well.
So this is fascinating now, because this is where the game starts to be played, David. And the bar is 200 kilos for Davianov. Well, he's done 205. He's got a pretty good set of stats, you know. He's won the Junior Europeans in his time, the Junior Worlds, 4th in Europe last year, and then won the silver in Warsaw. So he's been improving steadily. And although he's a hugely imposing figure in his own, I mean, he was really overshadowed by the Iranian in Warsaw.
Just looking at that right hand, we'd had reports earlier that he'd sustained an injury to the hand, and the Bulgarians didn't seem to think that this was going to be the 5th win. He looked fine with 195, but gaining loads of height on that bar, but seems to be in all kinds of problems.
Well, I'll tell you what, David, from one of the big men, let's hear a little word from one of the smallest, Halil Mutlu, with a little message to all of you Turkish viewers on Eurosport. Here's Halil.
Merhaba, ben Halil Mutlu. Bu Avrupa Şampiyonası Eurosport ekranlarında izleyen tüm halter severleri ve tüm dünyaya sevgilerimi sunuyorum. İnşallah bir dahaki yarışmada tekrar buluşmak üzere. Teşekkürler, iyi günler.
Which I can translate for you as saying welcome to all of you from Halil Mutlu, to all of you watching on Eurosport. Hope you enjoyed the championships and look forward to seeing you in Vancouver at the Worlds.
Didn't realise your Turkish was so good, David.
Well, he stopped by in the last interval to record that little message, so I hope we will have all the company of the Turkish audience wherever you are for the Worlds. Now, another big man, Udashin, Ukraine, 2nd attempt. Goodness gracious me, he was close.
Yes, good speed, but not able to fix the bar overhead. Of course, remember we described weightlifting as a sport where first of all you have to throw the bar up, but then unlike the shot put or the javelin, you then have to catch it again.
Little message in on the email, David, from Cyril Martin. He's just set up a new website for the British Weightlifting Youth Programme, and if you would all like to go into that, it's www.bwlayouth.co.uk. So that's all about the youth competitions back home. Thanks, Cyril, for that, and hopefully you'll get a good response. 202.5 being indicated there from Danielin.
So the tactics starting to play a part in this competition now.
Artem Udashin, third attempt. Now he really needs this, David. Can't be quite sure how this is going to end up, this first phase, but needs this to stay in touch.
It's more like it.
Yeah. Error corrected and reward achieved. What's really impressing me, David, is the speed with which these big men are moving the bar. So they're all pretty comfortable at the moment. We haven't got to the point where they're having to push themselves, but it will arrive sooner rather than later. So the chef, 113.01 kilos, light but strong.
Yes, giving away a lot of body weight, but of course this 202.5 would not only put him into the lead, but it would put him into the lead, and he's also got lighter body weight over his competitors, so it would mean that for the gold medal to be taken from him, they would have to do 205. So looked good on his first snatch of 195. I'm sure he's capable of this. Oh, look at that. Nice.
He's in cracking form, and isn't it great, David, when you get this huge discrepancy of weight, 113 kilos versus 163 kilos of Danielin, and yet you're seeing superb technique, you know, really well used. I mean, he looks like an athlete, doesn't he? I mean, he's really dynamic and explosive, and this is the best I've seen him for ages and ages.
Well, he looks as if there's more there. But of course, as we've said all the way through this championship, the Russians, something's different on the Russian team. They seem to be doing much better. They brought in help from the likes of David Rigger.
Well, they've got a system for a start. I mean, you know, it's a vast country. They've got lifters all over the place. That makes it, you know, it's not like, you know, sort of Bulgaria where it's easy to sort of cluster people. Russians have had talent all over the place. The problem they've had is sort of organising it and, you know, making the national championships count for something. I mean, as I said yesterday, you know, they've made it a qualifying thing. You would not be allowed to come here unless you finish first or second in the national championships. So they've focused everybody. Now here is the biggest of the lot. Now can he do what the lightest just did? Yes is the answer.
Yeah, so that puts him second place because, of course, as you've just pointed out, he's the heavier.
Yeah, born in Yerevan, the Armenian capital. Been on the team now for, well, I think this is his 13th season. Looks good. Won the European title twice.
So this is going to be a real psychological test. He's obviously strong. I mean, he pulled that weight of 200 extremely high, but the hand was clearly bothering him. So somehow he's got to get over that. He's got to ignore the pain.
Well, our Bulgarian colleagues, David, have you know, they did say, I said, well, it's going to be the 5th championship, and they went, not sure. So there was, you know, there was honest uncertainty.
I just think it depends on whether or not he can overcome this this hand problem. I mean, can he block the pain out and just go through with the movement anyway? Don't think strength is a problem. Well, there's the answer.
That's very good. He's 2.5 kilos short of his absolute best in the snatch phase, but that's kept him right there, because clean and jerk wise, well, 245 is pretty useful.
Well, this is interesting. We've got Ashot deciding to take 205. There's 2 snatches left in this competition. But the Russian, the lightest, so we've got the lightest man now going to be competing against the heaviest man. But the irony of it is that the heaviest man is opting for 205. Lightest man is opting for 207.5, which he doesn't actually need for the gold medal.
Might be thinking ahead.
But yeah, could be thinking ahead. But he's strong on the clean and jerk as well.
So, first 360-pound, 25 stone Danielin Arshot of Armenia, to be followed by 17 stone, 248 pounds Chiganev of Russia. Shouldn't be allowed, really, should it?
Not really. Well, the Russian's clearly the better athlete. But this man's not going to give away that gold medal that easily.
Well, we also wondered, David, you know, having served his time for the crime, you know, he's come back, he's, you know, again, a man who's been off the platform in international competition for well over 2 seasons. So, you know, again, there'd be an uncertainty and nervousness, but he's, you know, he seems to be somewhere near his best. And maybe, you know, he has prepared to come and take on the likes of, you know, Debian Davianov at their best, which is all credit to him.
So the bar now moves to 207.5 kilos for the last snatch in this competition. Well, that's the smallest man, and as you say, undoubtedly a fantastic athlete. I mean, this is for a man weighing 113 kilos. This is huge.
It's all, I mean, it's not far short of double body weight. I mean, it's incredible.
It's a huge snatch for a man of this weight.
And of course,
he's giving away, he's got such a disadvantage on the body weight.
He's giving away 7 stone. I mean, if he gets this, not only does he get the 2.5 kilos, he gets effectively 5 because of the light body weight advantage. 28 seconds. Yes!
It looks as if he could have done even more.
Absolutely terrific. Chiganev, what a little series there to take the gold medal in the snatch, and more importantly, a lead. It might be slim over these big men, but 207.5, a 5 kilo increase, and boy, this has been good. I'm glad we've seen this, because Chiganev, athletic, dynamic, and 7.5 kilos up on his previous competition best. So the Russians, they've really got themselves together for this championship. 4 titles in the men's division, but this is the situation at halfway. Yevgeny Chiganev, the man who was attacked by a knife a couple of seasons ago, which really disrupted his career, leads at the halfway stage ahead of Yelin of Armenia, with Debian Davianov, the world silver medalist, in 3rd place. But only 5 kilos separating those 3, with Udashin just a further 5 kilos back. Well, that was a really good opening half to the competition, and I think it sets us up beautifully for the clean and jerk, David.
Yes, and at the moment it looks as if it's a battle between the lightest and the heaviest. So
David and Goliath competition, certainly in the first half. Will it continue in the second? We shall find out. This men's super heavyweight competition, David Goldstrom together with David Morgan. And David, what a cracking situation we've got in this final event. Yevgeny Chiganev of Russia, the lightest man in the whole of these super heavyweights, 113.01 kilos, 207.5 kilos lifted for a personal best. And the man he put into silver medal position, Arshot Danielin, the biggest, 163 kilos. So Daniel, or David, being beat Goliath in the first part, will it be the same? We're just getting underway now in the clean and jerk in this, the final competition of the 2003 European Championships here in Greece, and I hope you've enjoyed the action all the way. Thank you also to all of you for your emails. One or two we'll come to very, very shortly. So this is Nanyev of Azerbaijan, 192.5 kilos in the snatch. This to give him a total 220 on the bar.
Yes, so a nice solid start.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And gets 412.5 and weighed in Nanyev at 115.63 kilos, so just edges out Petr Sobotka of the Czech Republic, who lifted that total 412.5 in the B division earlier today. So the man you've just seen is now the actual leader of the competition, but early days. Well, Michael Caton, thank you very much for your email. I gather that you're in Sofia and you actually work out at the same gym as Galibin Boevsky. And you know him pretty well. He was just asking us, David, as you see those kilos on the board there, a lot of men at 235, but the Armenian, the big man, at 240 down. Michael was asking about the athletes and the training. You know, are all or most of these athletes full-time? And the answer, I think, to that is yes.
Yes, for sure.
And Michael was, at his peak in weightlifting in the sort of 50s and 60s, so it's really changed, hasn't it, between lifters then?
That's right. In the 50s and 60s, the sort of the thoughts on training were that if you train more than 3 times a week, you would actually get weaker. So, and of course, all the people in the 50s and 60s trained with jobs. It's now a lot more professional, and we now know a lot more about physiology of the body and what it can withstand when you gradually increase the training sessions. So yeah, it's a whole different ball game now. Some people now train 3 times a day.
So now the first of the Poles. There was a little sort of private Polish championship going on in the first half with us, and it's Kolakotseph, this man on stage, who got the better of the argument with 187.5. His teammate Naideck with 185. But these two down the lower end of the...
But his teammate is always dangerous on the clean and jerk, because I think he has a best of 250, so he's still dangerous.
250 it is. Kletch, on the other hand, 235. So, as you're saying, David, you'd expect Naideck to catch up and overtake here. Another email in from Victor. Gather you're an Armenian living in Prague. Well, I hope you're enjoying the competition. You'll have seen that your man, Ashot Danielin, on his return to competition here, has got his hands full. He's being dealt with at the moment by a lighter man, but of course one would expect him, if he's in good form, David, to make progress in the clean and jerk. But there's no doubt that Chiganev is in good shape, and Debian Davianov, well, that wrist may be limiting his ambitions, that right wrist problem.
Well, I think it was probably, these things are usually worse in the snatch, so hopefully he won't be too affected in the clean and jerk.
Another question, Matko in Slovenia, good afternoon, thanks for sending us your email. Just the smelling salts, David, just describe those again for Matko.
Just ammonia. Some people like them, feel that it wakes them up, makes them more alert. It's nothing magical really. Either like it or you don't. Some coaches perhaps think that it's necessary.
Thing to do, Matko, is just pop in your local pharmacy, get a small amount, and just try it, and then you'll see the effect.
But just smelling salts, really.
Yeah. Artem Udashin. Now he's in 4th place. He's 2.5 kilos behind Davianov, but actually he's heavier. He's the 2nd heaviest in the class at 140 kilos. big boy.
But fast. Looked really impressive on the snatch. So that puts him on 4:30. And actually puts him straight into a very early lead.
He was the bronze medalist in the World Championships last year, David. I mean, he was 10 kilos down on Debian Davianov. Snatch 200 there and clean and jerk 240. Is he in that sort of shape, do you think?
Not like he's certainly clean 240. I'm not about the second phase. Is not quite as convincing, but I guess time will tell.
Nanyev, second attempt, 10 kilos up, looks big, but if anybody can take a 10 kilo increase, it's these boys. Now, we had an email in earlier from Tony Mills in Oldham. Hello, Tony, hope you're watching, and you were asking about a number of famous American lifters of the past. So we've had a little roundup. Chuck Vinci, 70 years of age, was a man who ultimately worked in the steel mills, but recently retired, and recently was the Arno Expo over in Ohio, the Arnold Schwarzenegger event, and I think he was a guest there, still training. Good lift there by this man.
Well, looked like a bit of a press out to me. Well, 2-1. So, yeah, good lift.
Isaac or Ike Berger. Well, I gather in the nicest possible way, if you want a good watch, track him down, because he's your man if you want a nice timepiece. Pete George, dentist. Jim George, I think, also a dentist, so I understand. Tommy Kono, retired. He did work in sort of parks and recreation. But David, he actually wrote what everyone says is actually quite a good book.
Very good book, yes. Very simply called Weightlifting, and it's got everything you could possibly imagine in it, all about techniques and psychology of weightlifting, training, competition, and a good amount of history. So yeah, it's written a pretty good book.
And Norbert Shimansky, couldn't find out too much. We know he's retired, you know, enjoying himself, hopefully, but hopefully that just answers a little bit of your question. And Paul Anderson, well, sadly not with us.
Died at the age of 62, but was an interesting character. Used to go around lifting weights, and was a preacher.
He's getting ever so close to his competition best, David. There were signs of that there in the clean. 2:35. He's aiming.
Well, he's trying to hang in there. He knows his teammates coming in at 235, so he's trying to keep that lead that he achieved in the snatch. But the bar now moving to 235 kilos, and this for the first appearance of the light Russian, who was leading after the snatch.
Yeah, he's coming in on exactly the planned mark, Chiganev, and he has only got a 2.5 kilo advantage. So he's, I mean, one would think, David, that he's going to find it difficult from here on in. But,
well, no, he's got body weight as well, so.
But only 2.5 kilos advantage.
Well, he looks strong though. He's not having any problem at all with that. Well, it is only a 2.5 kilo advantage, but you know, in real terms, it's 5, because Ashok will have to lift 5 kilos more clean and jerk to win.
Well, in the national championships this year, he clean and jerked 237.5, so he started strong. Now, you would hope, wouldn't you, David, if you did the 235 in the national championships in February, what would be your guess?
Well, I mean, with this man, it's any guess, because he's just looked so good, and we saw his tactics in the snatch. It was to come in very light, and take, get a total in and then take fairly big jumps. I mean, that to me, that 235 was an extremely convincing first attempt, and I would think that he's going to go quite a lot further.
So Debian Davianov with a little bit of catching up to do now, in third place with 202.5 kilos, so 5 kilos down, and obviously heavier than Chiganev, but going for 235 also for his opener. So not really attacking at this point, just establishing.
Yes, just getting a lift on the board.
Chiganev with a commanding lead at the moment, 442.5, ahead of Udashin with 430. But that should change any moment. Strong enough overhead for that.
So at least he's got a total, and he can now start working towards improving on that second place.
Yes, he's got to close up that 5 kilos, and all the time he's dealing with a man who's got that lighter body weight. But looks a little bit more comfortable. 245, so to get another 10 kilos, David, shouldn't be a problem for him. That's what he did, 205, 245 to get the silver in the Worlds. Now Kolakotseph, the younger of the two Ukrainians, the junior European champion in 2000. And this is 10 kilos up on what he did then. You'd expect at least that with 2 years of development.
Well, he did a personal best on the snatch, didn't he, by 7.5 kilos. So that's good. It's very good.
And he's now just 5 kilos short of his current competition best. So yeah, good lift.
So the clean and jerk developing into a pretty competitive competition.
Yeah, the good thing is that at the moment we've got this situation where everybody's lifting with success, which is good. Nice split, very solid. You can see that just brings that left leg forward nicely, and nicely in line now.
So just 2 men to start. Naideck of Poland the first, and then Udacion of Armenia.
Now, as you said, David, this man's got a best of 250, so he's, this is pretty modest starter. But I've seen him do this before, get one in, and then he'll wait and then try and pick the moment.
He's a big man, but they do move fast, and they are very technically proficient.
Women's super heavyweight champion of the world, Agata Robel, didn't fare so well in the Europeans, but getting ready for the Worlds again in Vancouver. Not too disheartened by losing her European title to Kromic. So also 240. Somebody's going to have to make a move somewhere here, David. They can't sort of 242 and a half for the pole.
Yes, so all sorts of changes going on in the warm-up room. Everybody trying to decide on the most advantageous weight. So decision made. And this man having a pretty good competition.
Yeah, not he's not going to win any medals, but I mean, this is again a man really in his early preparations for hopefully what he hopes will be a successful career. A bit too heavy.
Yeah.
Well, if you were with us in the first half of the program, you'd heard a few words in Turkish from Halil Mutlu. Gregor Kletch about to come on. Here's a few words from triple Olympic gold medalist Pyrrhos Dimas.
Γεια σας, είμαι ο Πύρος Δήμας. Ελπίζω να απολαύσατε το πρόγραμμα των αγώνων στο Eurosport. Σας χαιρετώ από την Ελλάδα και σας περιμένουμε να παρακολουθήσετε το πρόγραμμα στο Παγκόσμιο Πρωτάθλημα στο Βανκούβερ.
Pyrrhos in Greek, obviously, saying, hope you've all been enjoying the program on Eurosport. Thanks for tuning in, and he hopes to see you in Vancouver when he will fit and raring to go in the men's 94 kilo class. Now, Kletch, third and final attempt, 2:37.5. Not to be. Stuck on 4:20. So, frustrated, David. 5 kilos below his best.
Still maintains his lead by virtue of lighter body weight over his teammate, though. Yeah, I'm sure that will change soon.
Yeah, momentarily. Well, there's the Armenian from Yerevan.
Yes, and this lift will... well, actually, Ashot is deciding to come in at 242.5, so it's the...
he's going to try and close that gap on Chiganev in his first attempt.
Yes, so it's the Ukraine who, you asked the question earlier, is he in the kind of form to do 240? Well, we're just about to find out.
Well, this is Udashin. And 240, Udashin plus 200. So 440, this would put him on his bronze medal total of last November. And of course, he would have one more go.
So, no problem with the clean. Well, that wasn't strength, was it? That was technique. Yeah, it wasn't underneath the bar in that second phase.
Yeah, there was no balance there. All the gravity, the bar and him were at opposite places, really.
Yes, and with that kind of weight, you can't afford to be not under the bar.
We might be under the bar later. It's party time tonight. It's always good in Greece, the farewell party, not to be missed.
Yeah, I think the only trouble is getting drunk the night before travelling back is never good.
No, we don't get drunk, we just have a refreshing drink. Now, the Greek hospitality is famous, and I think everybody have a terrific evening, because it's been a very enjoyable week. Evgeny Chiganev now.
Yes, just trying to increase his lead. This will put him on 4-7.
So,
has to do this, really, and he knows it.
oh, look at that. That is amazingly good.
He's having a great day.
Oh,
And he knows it.
You know, when he was in the 105 kilo class, you know, back in the 1996s. I mean, he set a snatch record there, 195.5 kilos. You know, he's just come on tremendously. I mean, but this is wonderful to watch. I mean, this is real David and Goliath stuff.
Yeah, and he's put the pressure now, so that means that Ashot, the biggest man in the class from Armenia, now has to do 247.5 to take the lead, but of course the Russian still has another attempt, so he's got to pick his last attempt very, very wise. He's got to try and work how much Ashot can do and get it just right so that he can stay ahead.
Now here comes deadly dangerous Damian, and 240, so this is to take him up to 442.5, and you know, get him back into 5 kilo range of Chiginev. But again, he's heavier, loads heavier, so he's not out of this completely. And remember, there's still the Pole Naideck lurking in terms of mucking around with the clean and jerk. He's on 235 and waiting.
Well, that looks good. Very strong clean now. Well, that was a confident lift.
I tell you, these super heavyweight classes for men and women have been a revelation in the last couple of seasons, haven't they? They've just been getting better and better. We had a phase where not much was happening and, you know, being won, you know, rather easily. But this is good stuff. Hope you're enjoying it out there. Hope you've enjoyed the week. Worlds in November. Can it be as good as this? It'll certainly be a lot more tense because it's the Olympic qualifier. But 240. So 442.5 there for Damian. He's got one more go. There's Ashot.
Well, although this is the super heavyweight class, I have to say that I really would like to see the Russian win because you know, he's by far the better athlete. It's interesting, I'm looking right at the board now. The Russian has made a huge jump to 250 kilos, and I'm just wondering why he's done that. Perhaps he knows something about the Armenian. Perhaps he knows that to stay ahead he's got to do something pretty amazing. It's a big jump though. I mean, the 240 was good, but it wasn't.
But he could have. Did he have to go to 250 at this moment? Could he gone to
could have gone 245 and then jumped again.
He could have gone 242.5 and jumped. Just has to have a very sharp relationship with his coaches. Naideck. Looking for clean and jerk honours, this man.
Well, that would have put him ahead of his teammate. But it's 10 kilos down on his personal best.
Yeah, never mind his teammate. He was looking for something for himself there. And he's stuck on 420, which is not where he wants to be, but he's not really figuring in the main competition. Remember, Kolakotseph is the other man. We've got these Ukrainians, Udashin, the senior man, Kolakotseph, the younger of the two. Kolakotseph still with, you know, 2 lifts to go. Udashin with just the one, the 240. Remember, he had a failure. And that would take him to 440, which would sort of enhance his third position at the moment. But of course, still Danielin Ashot. This is the man that none of us are quite sure what he's going to deliver.
So, can he get it right for the second time of asking? I think the answer is yes.
So that does move him up to 440. And the Ukrainians having a good finish. They won the 105 kilo championship back thanks to Razorionov. Of course, they had a little setback right at the beginning of the championships when Zinoveva just got outthought and outlifted really by Ulanova of Russia. But that was supposed to be the first Ukrainian success. Didn't work out like that, but they have got a championship to go home with. Well, 240, and he weighs 126.52, so it's not going to put him into the gold medal position in the clean and jerk. It's going to put him into silver at the moment.
It's more like it.
Yeah, but ambition's limited. He just hasn't really lifted that well today, to be honest, David. And he's to see the effort that he's had to put in there just to get that.
So now we're going to find out now. As it stands, the man about to come on stage needs 247.5 kilos to go ahead of the light Russian.
Now here's a question, David, that comes in from time to time. When Chiganev went to 250, can down from that at this stage?
At this stage, he can, yes.
Because you're allowed to do that twice?
Yes, I think he's going to, providing the bar hasn't reached 250.
Yes.
And if the bar is, he can't come, I mean, if the bar now then goes to 245, you can't go to 242. So they're going to have to watch very closely. And I think they're going to be watching this man and seeing exactly how easy or how hard he deals with this weight of 242.5. Well, you have to work for that. But there's another 5. There's definitely another 5 kilos there, though.
Well, Chiganev has got 5 out of 5. I mean, if there was any justice, he will get the 6th lift and he will win it, because it would just be a monumental victory for him. So Ashot, he's got with that, has he got 447? Yes, 447.5, but second place because of body weight.
I still think that the Russian needs to perhaps take 245, because that would still leave Ashot needing 250.
Well, we need to keep an eye on that board to see whether he does adjust. We're at 242.5 for Kolakotseph of the Ukraine, who's currently on 25 kilos. This is 7.5 kilo increase. He's got another go, but he might well find himself following himself in a moment. Now this is where it'll be interesting to see him in the back room, David, because I think there might be... Now, nobody else wants 242.5, do they?
Yes, I think the Ukrainian.
Yeah, what I meant was there's nobody else who wants this weight, so here we are. We're in the back room. I'd love to see Chiganev just at this moment. Oh. Perfect timing. Well, he looks very composed. 250 though, David. I mean, that's...
Well, for a man who weighs 113 kilos, it's massive.
I mean, 237.5 in the national championship, so that would be a 12.5 kilo improvement since February. And forget about February. I mean, it's an all-time best.
Yes, if he could just put some more muscle on, then he could be a contender for the Olympic gold in a year's time.
So let's say
but it'd need to be at least, it'd need to gain at least another 10 kilos.
247.5 for Davianov.
Yeah, well, that would, and so yes, that would put him into the lead, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Absolutely. 7.5 kilos, take him up to 450. Yeah, 450s, Davianov was for the World Championships. And beyond that, we're sort of heading towards, but, you know, gently towards Rezazadeh.
But of course, the Bulgarian snatched 205 at the Worlds and jerked 245. So that, I guess the 247 would be a personal best on the clean and jerk for him.
Just to emphasize how good Rezazadeh is, 263 kilos is the world clean and jerk record. The European one is 260, held by Ronnie Weller. Ronnie, not here. Of course, he had that rupture just before the World Championships, David, if you remember. And he's been back in training, I think, for about 6 weeks now, Ronnie Weller. And should be, touch wood, fingers crossed, in Vancouver for the Worlds, for Germany, of course. I thought that might be the case. Kolakotseph finishing down in 5th place. So Udashin of Ukraine, 440. Kolakotseph, his younger teammate, less experienced, but 425. But not too bad for Kolakotseph. He entered a total of 420. So 425, he's exceeded his entered total by 5 kilos, but not quite got to his best of 427.5. But much more to come from him, hopefully.
Well, the bar has gone to 247.5, and this is for the Armenian. So
Chiganev just waiting in the wings, really. He's got 250, and seemingly he's not going to change his mind about that. That's what he's going to go for. I mean, I suppose, David, that he could change his mind if he thinks he needs 252.5. But Mike, can you imagine that? I can't see that, can you?
I think they're going to be watching this. They're going to be watching every lift very, very carefully. I mean, this now will put
what he's committed
Ashot into the lead. This will put Ashot into the lead. So it means that the lighter Russian would have to get a 250 to go back into the lead.
That's beginning to tell.
Well,
have they sussed him out? Remember, it is his first competition back after a long time.
Yes, but maybe you see 245 would have been a better weight for the Russian, because 245 would have meant that Ashot would have had to take 250.
Yeah, but was the 250 mind games? Oh, because remember, he got pushed up, he got up to 242.5.
Yes, maybe the Russian has no intention of coming out again. Maybe he's just pushed it up and he's just hoping that what he's already done is enough. And this happens. This is what Kakishvili did it in the last Olympic Games.
But that's really high stakes poker, because I mean, you know, if that was to happen, you say, well, why didn't you take 242.5? You say, well, I can't. That's too safe.
Well, this man could still sneak in here. This is going to put him into the lead.
Yes.
So Bulgaria can still sneak in and take the overall
remember,
gold medal.
This is 450. And this is his world silver medal total.
But if he does this, though, it puts him into the gold medal position, and then the others have to succeed with their last clean and jerks to beat him. So this will really put the pressure on. Well, he looks capable. It's just
Just explain that, David, because people won't necessarily understand what happened there.
Well, he cleaned it well, but I think I think this hand was bothering him again. He had to get it in the right position to jerk it off of a very solid base. And he knows that was his chance.
So for the umpteenth time, David, in these European Championships, which have been highly interesting, hugely competitive, we have come down to the last two lifts, not only of the super heavyweights but of the whole 2003 Championships. It's Chiganev, the David, and it's Ashot, the Goliath.
And Goliath is coming out first. Now, what will make it really interesting is if Goliath or Ashot succeeds on 247.5, it means that the Russian has to do the 250. If he fails, then the Russian can just call it a day, if he wants, or he can come out and go for the gold medal on the clean and jerk.
Yeah, lift for fun.
Yeah.
So 40 seconds, and there is Chiganev, bottom right of your screen, prowling, probably not looking at the screen.
So he knows that a failure at this for the big man on stage now would mean that he would be world champion. Success, well, he'll still have a little bit more work to do. Clean was better.
Yeah, fraction better. No, and Chiganev. David has won it. Goliath is defeated. And Chiganev, boy, oh boy, oh boy. You don't see that very often, David. You really don't see that. The man who weighed in at 113 kilos has defeated the 163 kilo Colossus. Athletic, dynamic, wonderfully prepared. And what about that man?
Yes, David Rigger, fantastic lifter of his day, and possibly a real inspiration to the Russian team.
Yeah, not a Russian.
Not a Russian, but originally... Not a Russian?
Not a Russian or a Russian?
A Russian.
A Russian.
Yeah.
Well, that's an amazing finale. Now, what are we going to do? Is he going to take this lift? I think he is, you know.
Well, if he wants all the gold medals, he has to. I mean, he may just be happy with the overall and the snatch gold. But if he won gold medals, he has to take this weight.
Well, a huge round of applause from this audience. Oh.
He's not going to bother.
No,
so happy with the overall.
Yeah.